Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of an action film from Taiwan, spoken in two languages, a Taiwanese indigenous language and Japanese, English subtitles, released in the year 2011, directed by Te-Sheng, and this movie is called Warriors of the Rainbow. And the story of the Warriors of the Rainbow is as follows. Set in 1930s Formosa, now Taiwan, Warriors of the Rainbow, Seediq Bale tells the incredible true story of the Wisha incident, in which an Aboriginal Seediq tribe warrior, Muno Rudo, led his people to rebel against the Japanese occupation. Rudo's 300 tribesmen fought with ancient guns, spears, and minimal weaponry, and seeking to reclaim their land, their dignity, and their honour, they took on the Japanese army of 3,000 for 2 weeks. So this is really an insight into the history of Taiwan. It features Muno Rudo, who is a hero amongst his tribesmen of the Seediq Bale. Now the Seediq Bale are indigenous to Taiwan, and they have had their land taken over by the Japanese occupation. So a lot of these warriors, they're starting to lose their honour, they're losing their heritage, and they feel that they're pretty much adapting to the Japanese way. And a few of these warriors, they take on the Japanese way, but a few of them, or most of them, don't appreciate this. So they're secretly leading a rebellion that will cause quite a few battles. And whether or not Munarudo, the lead warrior, whether or not he is successful in what he is trying to do, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on the film. This one really took me interest because it was supposed to be the most expensive film to come out of Taiwan. Now, Taiwan isn't known for their big films, so I really wanted to know what it was all about. I saw the trailer, and I thought it looked really cool. Unfortunately, it is nowhere near as cool as I thought it would be, but having said that, there are positives, but unfortunately, most of the positives are counteracted by the negatives. And I actually feel that the negatives are slightly bigger than the positives. Now, for every good thing, as I said, there is a bad thing. Now, to start with, it is a true sort of story, but then it's counteracted by a little bit of the director has taken liberties. So he's kind of, given it a spiritual kind of feel. And for the most part, it doesn't quite work because it feels like a fantasy film. So it kind of takes you out of the realms of a history lesson and kind of takes you into a different dimension. And that really didn't go for what the director wanted. And what the director wanted was to create a lot of courage, create a lot of ancestry. But in the end, I thought it just got a little bit too cheesy, and as I said, it kind of propelled it to a different sort of dimension. So for a history film, it just didn't feel that realistic, and it didn't feel like you were watching something like Braveheart. Now, Braveheart is a film that has been compared to this. It's supposed to be the Taiwanese version of Braveheart, but I felt Braveheart, in what it was trying to portray, it did it a lot more realistically. It didn't require ghosts, the warriors talking to their ancestors and the ancestors telling them what to do, and I felt that the emotion in this film was too forced. There were so many scenes where they're basically saying how much we are proud to be Seediq Bale, how our ancestors would be proud of what we're doing, and if we gave up, that how ashamed they would be. And it's kind of like the director was trying to remind you every 5 minutes that these were very fierce people, that these were very honourable people and very self-respected. And, kind of didn't give you the intelligence. The director didn't really give the audience enough credit to say that, once is enough. You tell the audience that the Seediq tribe was really courageous. That's all it takes. But the director chose to do this way too many times, and as a result of that, it just came across as a little bit annoying. And it did get very, very repetitive, and it just felt way too forced, very unnatural, and it kind of felt like the director was trying way too hard to get that response, the emotional response. It was also contributed with music. The music was way too overplayed, and the music was dictating what you should feel. So when a thrilling moment was happening, the music would come on, and you knew exactly when this thrilling moment was going to happen because this music kind of builds to a climax, and then the climatic moment happens. So it's telling you when you should feel a certain way. And then in the emotional scenes, they played this very melodramatic music. And it really felt to me that the director wasn't confident in showing subtle approaches. Therefore, he had to spell it out for the audience, and he had to tell the audience what they should be feeling, rather than making the audience make their own mind up about what they should be feeling and what they shouldn't. And that's something that Braveheart did. Yes, Braveheart did have the emotional music, but a lot of it, you got sucked into the movie, and it felt real, and it felt like, this really happened. Whereas in this film, it kind of feels like the director took a few liberties, and it takes you out of the realms of reality just a little bit. Having said that, there are moments of the film that make it very good. The action sequences are second to none. Unfortunately, when I say action sequences, here comes another negative. And that negative is I felt that the director used way too much CGI. Now, this is not the case with every action sequence. There are actually a few very good action sequences that didn't need CGI. But there's also a few action sequences that use CGI that really wasn't necessary. The director used a CGI flag, for instance, when they cut a flag in half, it was CGI'd. They used a few CGI animals where I thought it was just laziness. And the viewer will get that straight away. You think to yourself, why did you have to use CGI when it's set in such a beautiful part of the world? I just didn't feel it was as beautiful as it could have been because a lot of it was computer graphic, images, computer generated images. So the beauty of Taiwan is on show in this film, but as I said, a few segments of the film are done in CGI, and you're left scratching your head thinking, what was the point of that? The runtime is very long. It takes 154 minutes. Now, apparently the original copy is 4.5 hours long. Now, that is just way too long. And, 154 minutes was even too long for this. And it kind of gives you the character build-up, but it doesn't go in enough depth. I didn't know too much about the Seediq tribe. Yes, I knew they were courageous people because you're reminded every 5 minutes, but I didn't get really into the depth of the way of life of these people. And as a result of that, they come across as a little bit shallow, and I felt that the character building moments were they dragged on. They were very tedious. So a lot of the film does drag, and I felt that the director could have cut at least half an hour off the running time. So 4.5 hours, I'm not sure how anyone would get through that because I felt that the 154-minute version of this one, it just went on for too long. Now, there are positives. As I said, there are some very good action sequences. The violence is very brutal, a lot of decapitations, so if that's your kind of thing, you'll get something out of that. There are some very shocking scenes involving suicide. Now, I kind of felt, what was the point of this? Because instead of labeling this tribe as honourable, kind of felt like some of the things that they resorted to were far from honourable. So I didn't know exactly what the director was trying to do. Was he trying to paint these people in a good light or trying to paint them in a bad light? Because some of the decisions that these people make were very selfish. So I don't feel that it painted these people as such an honourable people, and I actually thought that overall that's what the film was trying to go for. So there were a few inconsistencies in the way that the story was told. As I said, the characters, the tribe isn't delved in deep enough. For the runtime, I was expecting something just a little bit better, but I actually thought that the director was trying something that just doesn't work so well. So as an action film, it works very well. As I said, there's some very good action sequences, but as an emotional film, when comparing it to Braveheart, it falls well short because it just doesn't have that emotion, and it just feels like it's trying just a little bit too hard. So overall, I liked it. It wasn't the worst action film going around, but it was, far from the best, and it's nowhere near as good as it has hyped up to be. So overall, I'm giving it 2.5 stars. I wanted to give it a little bit more, but considering the budget was 25 million, I thought that the money wasn't well spent entirely. But it does have its moments, so if you're a fan of these epic sort of adventure battle films, definitely pick it up. But as I said, just don't expect something like Braveheart because you'll be very disappointed. So 2.5 stars for The Warriors of the Rainbow. For action, it's very good, but as far as emotion is concerned, it was left a little bit wanting. So that's my review for the Taiwanese action film Warriors of the Rainbow, Seediq Bale. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.